think we're live. I haven't done this in a while. I am assembling control boxes for the Mongoose. I've pretty much finished with batch 2, although they need to be tested, boxed, and shipped. I'm working on batch 3 and 4 now. Yeah, so basically I'm taking these guys, putting a microcontroller, a motor controller, an LCD screen on them, screwing them to a faceplate, putting some hot melt glue on the screws so they don't fall out like a few did in the first batch. Not that that affects anything. And then putting it in its housing and adding a on-off switch and a knob. Anyway, if anybody wants to come chat me while I do this, please do. I will put you in the window up there. And yeah, I'm going to keep assembling. First thing I do is screw the faceplate and the stack of boards together. It gets 5 screws and 3 spacers. Got a little assembly tray here. Maybe not the most efficient, but it's been going okay. I spent the morning building new control boxes. I had tossed a few and as rejects and didn't actually make all of them the first time around, so now I have more than enough, I believe. All right. Spacer. Maybe if there's no one there, I will review the new album of background music for productions, volume 900 by Mike Gutterman. Seems like a fun time. Complete this one first. See if anybody's not doing anything on a Thursday morning. Probably most people are working or have more entertaining things to do. Oh, Nick says, finally a stream. Hey, Ethan. Hey, Nick. Yeah, I've been not streaming so much. I really wanted to get through a lot of this stuff. Not that streaming is always distracting, but it's a little distracting from what I have to do. But I'm getting very close to at least filling the Kickstarter orders and making a few retail batches. So, yeah. Thought I would get this stream in, maybe one of the last ones of the Mongoose assembly process. But hopefully there'll be some more in the future. Okay, so got this all together, plug it in, time to program. Takes a second to program here. Time to get out of box. Oh, port selected. Oh, come on. Tools, port. Oh, come on. Some of these FTDI USB converter chips are a little obstinate. You can see the serial output. Okay, time to reboot this computer. While that's going on, I can put the knob on. Nick, what are you up to today? Bet you're finished welding dog cages at the moment. Probably onto some new projects. Let's see if we can find some music from Mike Gutterman. Electronic Music for Productions, Volume 3. Okay. This is One Day. Oh, jeez. Turn that way down. Okay, this is Electronic Music for Production, Volume 3 by Mike Gutterman. You're listening to One Day. Hey, Matt and Nick. Either of you want to come hang out, I'll put you up in the screen. The link is down here. We can talk cameras or electronics, washing machine repair, air organ repair. Nick sounds like he's building a camera. Matt, how's your Kickstarter going? Well, that's booting up. Start assembling another board, set of boards. There we go. Okay, communicating. Can I program? Matt says, pretty well, just finishing an apple. Matt, when you come on, if you're a no good, not doing anything guy, come chill for a bit and do a promo to nobody while we listen to Mike Gutterman. Okay, done uploading. So this gets tested one more time. I've got to set the contrast or reference voltage on the LCD screen and the reference voltage on the motor controller. Hate doing this. You need a small child. Set the reference voltage on this guy. Go. And then I'm just going to check. I got a bad batch of buzzers in here. So I like to check the buzzer before I go through setting all of the settings and testing it. And that buzzer's working. Okay. I can call that one good until its final test and just put a little glue on some of these screws and the backlight jumper for the I2C backpack of the OLED display, the LCD display rather. I like using hot melt glue on the screws rather than thread locker. It is more easily repairable if I need to pull those screws. Kind of learned that from fixing a lot of electronics, including all of the Ender 3 printers that I have, which all have just massive amounts of glue on them. Oh, we've got a guest. Matt Beckberger. Let's see. Go back to this screen. Hit number 2. Hello, hello.
Hey.
We got a famous guest today. Matt, you're I don't know if you're intentionally no video or your video camera is not working.
Yeah, well, I'm wondering if I can get my phone to last longer by reducing the. I'm gonna try turning off the screen and see if that works.
Cool.
And it looks like it does. Perfect. My phone, it's only a couple years old, or it's not even a couple years old because I would have got a new one after 2 years. But it's like, even with power saving mode on, it doesn't last more than like 12 hours. Especially when I listen to podcasts. I don't know why.
Yeah, my phone is perpetually dead. Luckily, I don't leave the house, so I have a minimum of 2 computers in front of me at all times.
Yeah, I've got a 10 amp hour battery brick that I bought for VR, but it gets used to extend the life of my phone more than it gets used to extend the life of my Oculus Quest.
Aha.
But yeah.
So how you
I know,
doing,
because it's
buddy?
giant.
I saw your Kickstarter like by day 2 had more than reached its
Yeah,
goal.
yeah.
Sounds
Well,
pretty good.
it funded in an hour and 40 minutes.
Oh damn!
But I mean, I had hyped it, pretty
I
good.
know
So
you got the Ethan Moses pod tarting method down better
yeah.
than anybody else I have seen.
Well, I tried. I think I only got 4 podcasts in the end that I was able to secure. Like I'm not entirely positive, how far you made it. I know at one point you were literally in the room with the FPP, which is funny.
Yeah, yeah.
That's one way to do it.
Yeah, there's only
But
one podcast that I want to be on that has just constantly rejected me. But one day I'm going to force them to be friends with me.
is that the homemade camera podcast?
Yeah, no, nobody listens
Bullied
to
your way
that
on there.
podcast. I just do it because Nick and Graham are fun.
I mean, there's got to be. I have no idea what the listenership is, but it's got to be at least a couple hundred people.
Yeah, no,
I mean, it
there's
can't be 0.
no. We're probably the smallest podcast. None of us really. I mean, Graham has some podcasting skills, but
It's
we
tough
just
to sort of run the show.
yeah.
It's
I
kind
mean,
of.
we've gotten a little better at it, maybe, but it's
Like
it's
even
very
Graham, you
niche.
can tell he's trying to fill dead air. Like he has the sense that he's trying to fill dead air a lot of the time,
Yeah. So
um,
the funny
which he
thing
is
is,
probably
I uh,
essentially.
I was talking to my friend about the podcast, and he was like, "Oh man, I can't stand Graham's stuttering." And I was like, "Graham stutters?" And I re-listened to it, and like Graham just stutters when he's trying to fill air. When I
Right,
normally
he
talk
ums and
to
ahs
him,
a lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, he's much more calm. He's the only one like conscious that we're actually filming a podcast.
Well, I've been I used to listen. I mean, when I was at work, I listened to podcasts more extensively when I was driving and stuff.
Yeah,
And now I don't drive or go to work anymore. So the only time I really listen to podcasts, and I can't, like I can't prep shipping. Like I can't do like shipping label stuff. I can pack shipments, but I can't. There's a lot of jobs that I don't want to do while listening to podcasts because I feel like I can't pay attention to
yes,
um, I can't listen and write at the same time.
Yeah, buying shipping labels has to be like a very quiet, no other
Yeah, it's going to cost you a lot of
stimulus.
money
Yes,
when you
yes,
screw up. So
and
I
I
struggle with
have.
that. Yeah, I've done it many
I
times, which
I
is
haven't
I think
really listened to any but one new podcast that I discovered that's fucking amazing.
it's
But
called the Homemade Camera Podcast.
no, look, the Homemade Camera Podcast, it's great in that I enjoy doing it and
It's
I
fun.
enjoy hanging out with
It's
Nick and
very
Graham, and
niche.
it's given me like an opportunity to talk to guys like you who are doing amazing things sort of in the field. But on our best day, we have 700 listeners, right? Like we're very,
That's great.
very
That's better than I
small.
was thinking,
I mean,
honestly.
on our average day, we have 300 to 500 listeners on an episode. Way less
That's
on
nothing to.
YouTube.
I mean, that's probably in the top 5% of podcasts.
Maybe. I
Despite
mean, the deal is like
it's because
it's
podcasts are free to make. That's the problem.
yeah. That's the great part about it.
Yeah,
No,
it's
I mean
also the detriment to
the
the
great
art
part
form.
about the Homemade Camera Podcast is like the listeners are extremely dedicated. Like we can have an event and
Yeah,
10% of them will show up.
yeah, that's true.
Which is cool. But like, I mean, there are favorite podcasts of mine that just have people who are like good hosts. So, the Sunny 16, I feel like in particular, Graham is
Yeah,
like made for radio, right? Like he always plays it down, but I think he knows what he's doing and like makes really entertaining stuff. I think, my all-time favorite is the Classic Lenses podcast because it's like maybe the only podcast nerdier than mine. Uh,
mm.
I kind of
Yeah.
have a feeling that you're a big listener to that one too.
Actually, I don't listen to classic lenses. I've never tried it. I'm not sure
Oh,
why.
oh
There
man,
are some. There are some. I don't want to. I don't want to slander any. Like I've tried to get further into some, but I just kind of end up skipping them, especially when I'm kind of. That's my problem. Is I've been listening to podcasts like heavy for years,
uh-huh.
like the better part of a decade now,
Yeah, me too.
and I've got probably like 120 that I'm subscribed to
Wow.
in my player. So now I actually have to listen to everything on accelerated speed
Yeah.
to try to keep up. And and I was trying to keep up, and then if I found a new podcast, I try to listen to the back catalog and
Now the
stuff.
thing is, like, you don't have to keep up. Like, they're there to
Well,
entertain
yeah,
me. I'm not there to, listen to that. It's like you got that backwards, Matt.
that's what I've been learning and working towards is like you don't worry about not being able to watch every channel on TV, right?
Right.
And but the pure difference there is the mindset. There's no real difference between those two. It's just about how
Mhm.
you're thinking about it, right?
Yeah, I
Like
mean, we
being a
both have
being a completionist of
we both have
podcasts is
some sort of
stupid.
compulsive type of behaviors that could lead to collecting things or having to listen to everything. I
That's fun.
I get that.
Yeah,
um,
I have a lot of problems.
yeah. So I have a new favorite podcast that I started listening
Okay.
to, which I found accidentally. Like a mongoose backer had some issue with his camera not triggering, so we kind of went back and forth. And he's got like a new prototype in the mail that adapts uh, Olympus cameras that do some tricky things to prevent people like me from triggering them externally. But I got around that
Okay.
anyway. He was like, "Oh, hey, have you heard my podcast?" And I was like, "I have no idea who you are." And I listened to his podcast, and it's like rapidly became my new favorite. But it's like
But it's
also,
camera related.
yeah, it's very specifically Ethan. So it's called "I Dream of Cameras," and it's with um, Jeff Greenstein and Gabe Sachs. Um,
Okay.
and so I didn't know this about I didn't know who either of them were, but they're both like very accomplished TV writers, producers, directors. So
Really?
they more than anybody I've ever heard before, have a real handle on like making a good show,
Okay.
which I think will appeal to everybody. But what really appeals to me is that their show is about camera collecting specifically, so it's like all about buying cameras, which for the better part of a decade, my job was just to buy and
Right.
sell cameras across the country. I've been to all 50 states, and so like they sort of talk about it from a collector perspective, but it really brings me back to like the business of camera pricing and testing and going to find
Mhm.
these weird people all around the country. I don't know. I think it'll appeal to a lot of people for a lot of reasons, but it really like tickled me in a way that I think is like very specific to me.
Mm.
But I also think everybody would like.
Well, you've got a shared history with their um, ideas or whatever sentiments.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's super good. There's only 5 episodes right now. It's actually a
So
Sunny
it's
16s
completable.
presents. Um, yeah, yeah. I've listened to everything in 2 days of assembly, and I got real like sad and disappointed that there was no more for me. But I
Yeah.
probably shouldn't be listening to too many podcasts given what I'm trying to accomplish here. I'm a few months late, but I'm about to put out all of these damn things in just a couple of days. Um, they. I don't know how you do assembly. This is maybe something that you and I.
I'm doing it right now.
Yeah.
I it's tough. It's hard to do. I've built like 2,000 of these little meters now,
Yep.
and you really start to hate it. You
Yep.
just dread. Like I'll just be sitting there staring at my inbox, waiting to get an email in the morning because I get my emails, I drink my coffee, and I'm like, I don't want to go in there and build.
Yeah. This is exactly my life. I think you maybe more than anybody else in the. I mean, I'm sure Jason Lane does a little bit of this, but he also goes to work. Like Steve at Chroma probably does a little bit of this, but like more than
Yeah.
anybody else, I think you probably understand what it's like to be a victim of your own success and like just be stuck in this sort of
Wow.
repetitive assembly. However,
Yeah.
COVID's going to come to an end, and the two of us can start hiring, neighborhood kids to do things like set reference voltages on motor controllers.
Yeah. I'm actually excited for that. I think about it every day now, hiring somebody,
Yep.
uh,
Yep. Me too.
because I'm looking at some pretty serious quantities in the next 5 months.
Yeah.
Serious problems. I've got 1,000 more um, hot shoe meters parts on order,
Uh huh.
and I'm hoping I can build enough that then I can spend the time doing 2,000 spot meters uh,
Yeah.
and the um, the pre-assembled quantity of shoe meters.
Yeah. So one of the things that I really hate owing people money.
Mm.
And Kickstarter is like, I feel awful, right? Because I'm sitting on $40,000 worth of uh, orders, or a little less now. I've shipped batch one, but um,
Yeah.
it's like, and that was the way to do it because of FCC testing being like medium complicated in
Right.
this format. But um, it's not turning on. I see why. I think the next one I'm going to do is like a fairly large, much more complicated, much more expensive project than the Mongoose. It's the
Mm-hmm.
follow up to the Mongoose, and I just I've been working at this almost a year now since starting to develop it. And the next one, I think I'm just going to eat the FCC cost up front because it's electrically very similar, and I understand what I'm getting into with
Yeah.
this design. And then I'm just going to make them in batches and sell out. And it's going to make less money for sure if I'm willing to say, sorry, I don't have any. I won't sell you any until I do. But it's
Yeah.
also just going to like I've been doing 10-hour days for the last 3 months, 6 to 7 days a week. I'm sure you're kind of in the same boat trying to catch that many orders. But I don't know what else to do about it until I can hire, just like a kid to run the laser cutter or just,
Yeah.
do some of the manual assembly.
I mean, you really, you really do need to hire somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, you're one of the things you're doing too is you're doing a lot more of the work than I am. Like I am paying suppliers to do more work, right? Like my 3D prints show up
Yes.
basically ready to go. I mean, all my boards are like 100% surface mount, so
Right.
I'm not putting that shit together by hand. I do that for the prototypes, and that's
I bought 80
quite
bucks
enough.
worth of solder this month. It's like I.
How many pounds is that? Like 15?
3 pounds.
Oh, only 3? God, solder's expensive now.
Yeah.
I've been working on the same 1 pound roll for so long.
Tin antimony. Yeah, so like for years I had like a couple ounce roll, and then I went through that, and then it was like, oh, now I'm just going through half a pound a day.
Good God.
I have a bunch.
One of those guns, the feeder guns. Have you seen those ones?
Yeah, so that's not going to speed me up that much. But what I did, I bought a soldering station finally, like kind of a Chinese knockoff of the Weller.
Yeah.
And then I also what did I do? Oh, I just bought a desoldering station, like a rework station, which should be here in a little bit. I found a bunch of these buttons were a little crooked and would bind on the faceplate, so I had like, I don't know, 10 boards that are, rejects. I wouldn't send them to people, but also like everything that I use at least this board to do is necessarily through hole, and so it's just like it would cost more than the Mongoose just to have one board through hole soldered in China, and so I don't know.
Well, one board, sure, but I mean, obviously, you build the prototypes at home.
No, but I'm saying it's like just a through hole surface mount, even at quantity, is wildly expensive compared to surface mount. And like if they're tactile buttons, they're RJ45 ports, the rotary encoders. That it just can't be surface mount, which is it makes me think like I really
You don't think there's a supplier who could do wave soldering? I think they have through hole pick and place, right, with the tape.
They do.
I've never been involved with it.
They do. It's much more expensive. I looked into it.
I believe that. Yeah. But the question is it more expensive than your time?
Yes. I'm actually like the soldering is not what's taking me the longest. That it would help for sure, but there's a lot of like every Mongoose probably has 15 to 20 minutes of just testing at the end. Like it's the mechanical stuff that's that's where the defects come, right? And so let's see. That guy. The mechanical stuff, like I can't trust to a third party with my name on it, right? Because it's, it's annoying.
Yeah.
But I have some ideas of, all SMD component projects, which maybe I should focus on. But really, what's just going to happen is, my price per hour in any project I do is just going to get more and more expensive. Like if I'm making, say, $50 an hour, the next project, unless it makes more than $50 an hour, I'm just not going to release it. Like my time is gone.
That's pretty debilitating, though.
It is. Or
Well, that's why you got to hire somebody for $15 an hour and live with it.
Yeah, and if I hire somebody for $15 an hour, they wind up costing $20. But that will free me up to make a lot more things and cheaper things.
I mean, that's a good wage in Albuquerque, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, so we're kind of coming up against the $15 an hour minimum wage. When the minimum wage was $7, I always paid $14. I just like I don't want to pay people like a rapist wage, you know.
Yeah, but if they are actually like a kid. Like...
Yeah. I pay a kid minimum wage, right? But yeah, I don't know yet. I want to hire like a full-time adult who's going to be annoying rather than like literally I spend hours and hours.
I mean, it might be hard to find 40 hours of work for them, right? That's the part I would worry about.
Pretty easily, I think. Certainly over the last 5 months, right? So like I had some wholesale laser cut orders going that really like every 20 minutes I needed to stop and reload the laser, which I probably did 80 hours of laser cutting last month. There's no reason why I couldn't pay a kid to do that and then just peel the cuts while they're waiting.
While he's waiting, yeah.
And that, I'm already priced. Yeah, I mean, I priced it at my time, and so it would be way better to, pay a kid to use my time to do something better. But COVID was not like an awesome time to hire a workforce.
No, it's not. There's problems there, as we know. Yeah, it's. I'm really hoping that I'll be in a situation where I can do something. Canada is not. It seems that the American drug manufacturers are withholding a little bit. So I think they've said that like maybe normal people can get vaccines in like September.
Wow.
At the current rate, which is generally optimistic. So
yeah.
I may be, eating this 3,000 units worth of building myself, which it's not that I can't do it. It's just I really don't want to, and there's an opportunity cost of holding me back from designing the next product. Like I've already got the next idea. I already know what I'm doing.
That are like almost ready to go. That I could have sold and released 2 or 3 of them in the amount of time that I have just been doing this stupid work, and it makes me uncompetitive, right? Like I gotta be releasing new things or it's like, I mean, I have competitors who will remain nameless, who like run a Kickstarter and then don't fill for years so that they can release new products. I'm just kind of unwilling to do that, but also, man, I have only released like a product or 2 this year. I'll probably do 5. But, whatever. Nobody in their right mind would hire me as an engineer. And so, like, the price of admission for me, not having an engineering degree, is like the willingness to do everything else surrounding it.
Yeah, I mean, anybody can, just make their own way if they've got the idea. I mean, I don't have an engineering degree.
Do you hear me? Hello.
Oh, hey, hello. Washington. How you doing?
Okay. You hear me? Okay. I'm hearing. How are you?
Good. Long time no see.
Yeah, I was busy. I don't want to interrupt. It's very interesting. Keep going.
It's been interesting. You can come on. Washington is my friend. We built a ventilator together, and we're possibly cousins.
Okay.
He's in Argentina.
And
Matt is a fellow photographic manufacturer.
Okay.
Yeah, paraphernalia.
Industrial designer also?
Yes, a very good one.
He's a colleague of mine. I'm working now like from 3-4 months. You hear me? You hear me right there? maybe I will partner with a guy here that he's moving to San Diego, and we'll bring factory to San Diego.
What is
Maybe.
What is he building for you?
No, he will partner with me. He will move there, and he will be in charge of assembling all the bike there. He will produce here the frames and some of the headlights and that car thing. And in San Diego, we will buy the batteries, the motor, the computer, the brakes, all the bicycle parts. We will assemble there and sell from there.
Cool.
That's the idea.
You gonna make it to San Diego?
No, not me. He.
No, I know,
Then
but like, not
4 or 5
for
years,
like long term, but maybe on a business trip.
in long term, yes. Yes, in maybe 4 or 5 years, yes. I will move out here. I can do anything here. I can find the hubs. I can find the tires. I can find the wheels. Anything. Well, we talked this in the past. I give up. Yeah, that's it. I'm struggling now to understand, to learn from the start all the laws, how the NLLC works, how to hire people, how to everything, how to buy batteries from China directly, how to buy the motors. How it's very mind and time consuming.
Yes.
Learning process. And I'm working. So maybe I can meet you someday.
Yeah.
How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm just assembling some things. I'm getting very close to being able to finish all of these Kickstarter rewards. I started doing them in like one large batch rather than little batches, which makes the first rewards a little slower and the later rewards a little faster, but the total amount of time is much less. So, yeah, maybe in 2 weeks.
Crowd selling or crowdfunding?
Yeah, this is the Kickstarter that I ran months and months ago.
But it's more like crowdselling, or it's or you have a goal and everything.
You're cutting out.
Yeah.
Sorry, what'd you say?
You had a goal in money, or it wasn't without a goal?
Yeah, no, it had a goal, which it reached, but then, you know, I owe 87 units, something like that, which is has just been months of building. These things are slow. Also, you know, it took me a very long time to just even get all of the components. A lot of them were sourced from China and like was not even available here for any price. And
yeah.
then I had to go through Fcc testing, which took about a month longer than I thought. It's been an ordeal. I'm glad I did it. You know, no complaints, but I got a lot of complaints. Matt,
and the tire, I'm talking to the distributor there, and I have to ask them in 4 or 5 months in advance. The tires, just the tires.
No. It's a pretty serious lead time.
Yeah. And today I'm talking to a friend that has a factory here in Argentina, and he used polyethylene. How you call it in English?
Yeah, polyethylene. You got it.
Yeah, polyethylene, yeah.
Okay, so polyethylene is you are using a byproduct of the I don't know, the fuel for the cars. When you find the fuel for the cars, a byproduct is the ethylene.
Yeah, ethylene.
And as COVID passes and with the storms that you are having there is no consumption, so there is no ethylene. The polypropylene is like 3 times the raw materials, 3 times the price worldwide. If you get it, So he's start to stop the production line because he don't have the raw material here in Argentina.
So his raw materials are connected to the price of oil and the demand for oil.
Exactly. Ethylene, every chemical thing, or most chemical things, most chemical plastic, related somehow with the fuel and fuel consumption.
Right.
So as we move to electric, it will be less fuel consumed, so the raw materials will be more expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of products that are made from the byproducts of oil refining,
Exactly.
like like asphalt, tar,
Mm-hmm.
plastics.
Paints.
There's some gas products, propane and stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Yeah.
Ethan, you know some kind of, I don't know, maybe firm or something that takes the whole process of making an enterprise there from start to finish?
Making a what?
An enterprise. Making the
Oh,
LLC,
yeah. I mean, so
get the
yeah, I've
everything.
used that on very small scales, right? I've used some like internet services that are like, basically rent a lawyers for incorporating. You dealing with import and export stuff probably need like a little bit more sophisticated than I did to form, a company.
I think there's licensing involved in that.
Yeah.
But I'm standing with people that seems like sellers or something. Like, if you give me $50, I will get you this soon.
Yeah.
It's like a,
Yeah, so I mean, when I'm not assembling, we can do a little research together. I don't know anybody who is particularly like I got a good customs broker, but I don't have like a good, international LLC or S corp formation attorney, whatever. But I could do a little research with you.
Oh, thank you. Maybe there we will not just selling e-bikes. We will be more like an umbrella company for luxury goods, and I'm designing new lamps, tables, a lot of things. Because bicycle will be copied sooner or later. So we want to make a lot of products. That's the general idea. It will be not more be like Schulz cycles. It will be another name.
Yeah.
Schulz factory, Schulz algo.
Sure. I mean, is there a competitive manufacturing advantage in Argentina after you ship to the States?
Maybe the price of handmade things. And then I'm here. The price of handmade things. Maybe I can get a frame here with my own space, contracting the people inside of my space. I will get more like $50 a frame.
I see. Yeah, so what
It's
I found,
like
I've imported things from Asia before, and like the cost of raw materials is basically Asian price plus shipping. Whether you have the thing manufactured there or manufactured here, and like, I don't know, I never scaled anything up to the point where it was worth all of the time and travel back and forth to like have manufacturing labor savings of Asian manufacturers. It's like it's hard manufacturing things abroad unless you scale real big.
Exactly. You need something like a fixer that is a guy that represents you in the factory there.
Yeah, I had a few in Vietnam and Thailand, which was good. But I just, like at the end of the day, by the time I flew to Thailand and Vietnam and I spent a month like going around making deals with people, like it would have been way cheaper just to spend that money on American manufacturing, or for me, Mexican manufacturing, because it's 4 hours away, and just not
Exactly.
have burned a month and travel costs and whatnot all over the world. I mean, it was
know what you mean.
interesting. I'm glad I did it, but the lesson learned was like, American manufacturing not that expensive in comparison.
Well, it depends on how many zeros you have in
Right.
your
I never
quantities.
had I never had that many zeros.
Maybe I will get like 20 bucks a month. It's nothing.
Yeah.
20 bucks a month is nothing. And the other thing, maybe I'm dreaming or guessing wrong, but I don't think the globalization will keep us. We know it. I think maybe
quite
the
possible.
America will try to step in a more strategic point of view, not just money view, and some things must be manufactured there. I don't know how they don't have a factory of batteries in America. I don't find one. How the hell do you don't have lithium batteries in America?
Yeah.
It's incredible. Lithium batteries. Just one factory. Just one.
I think
You don't have,
Tesla's making them, but I don't think Tesla's going to sell them to you or make you custom ones.
no, no, and I guess Panasonic is running the batteries inside the Tesla. It's something like that. He has to deal with, I guess it's Panasonic for the
Yeah, prior
50 cell.
to developing their own battery plant, they were using Panasonic.
Yeah, I think I've seen somebody
cells.
tear a Tesla battery apart, and it's just like banks and banks of 18650s.
Yeah, they now use a new size. I think it's 25 something. I forget. They're bigger diameter.
Mm-hmm.
They have a larger cell now, but yeah, it's essentially banks of, like, the early Model S's were like 7,000 or 8,000 18650s in these huge matrices.
2 months ago, a car crashed in an elevated highway and stamped into a metal stick that was there. So the building that was next to that metal stick, it started to rain the cells inside. It burned a bed, started a fire on a department, and one guy inside the building said it was raining like villas cells. It was raining cells inside the building.
Man.
And you see the pictures. You see the pictures was crazy, and there are cells. But now they are working on. You see the new cell that is with more power density. It's more like. Yeah, and that will be structural. They will solve it. All will be solved in the front and the back, and they will start to stiffen the battery case, so it will become the chassis of the car more stiffer.
Right,
That's
it'll be
the
a
idea.
structural component.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember reading that the battery pack right now is not a structural component.
So I'm working on that, and I try to know how to bring to Argentina the two Schwalbe tires and a hub to do the prototype. And I can't find any way to bring it here. It's a forbidden item, the tires in Argentina.
Oh, jeez. I cross-shipped Marcos some oscilloscope parts a while ago. He just could not. It wasn't illegal. It was just he couldn't buy them for any price in Brazil. So one day I had an oscilloscope and some stuff show up at my house. It was like, what is this? I thought somebody had given me a gift, and then I realized it was his, and so I had to ship it to him.
But here is forbidden item because we have a factory of tires.
Yeah, there's a lot protectionism stuff with Argentina.
Exactly. But it's just one factory of the worst tires you can imagine. The worst.
Yeah, but they know
The worst.
somebody.
They have friends.
They,
They have friends.
yeah.
We test that tire once in our bike, and in 40 meters, testing the bike in the first 40 meters, the road, I don't know
It popped
which is
already?
called. Yeah, but the part that has the drawing that touch the surface, what here we call it la banda de rodamiento, like the something like
Tread.
it's the threading.
The
The
tread.
thread came apart, came loose in 30 meters.
Cool. I feel like I'm all for
Yeah.
trade protectionism, but like banning products instead of taxing them seems crazy.
Yeah, they should just tax them. If they.
Yes.
I suppose it wouldn't work because the inferior product. If they're paying, even if they're paying like 100% tax and they're still buying it,
I mean, they just
it's
need
just
to be
more proof that the homegrown stuff is garbage, right?
maybe.
It looks bad.
But then there's some pressure to make better tires at home.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, but the economic incentives are better aligned.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, but here doesn't. We don't go with the logic.
Yeah.
The logic is not for us.
Yeah. Well, Argentina is. It's a pretty new democracy still, right? I think the.
No.
I can't recall.
No,
Was it
That's
Pinochet?
Brazil.
Who am I thinking of?
No, that's
yeah, but
Am I thinking of Brazil?
the thing, the first, how do you call it when you ask a country for money, like a loan?
loan. Yeah.
The
Okay.
first international loan of Argentina that is recorded is like from 1830, like 200 years ago.
Okay.
And half of the loan went to the president, and half of the loan went to something that never we use. That's the start of foreign.
With Argentinian independence from the Spanish or something.
4 years, exactly 4 years after that.
Jeez.
Where are you in Canada?
I'm near Toronto.
Okay.
Although I think 20% of Canadians live within about an hour's drive of Toronto, so we all being from Toronto area is like the most common answer probably. I live outside of Toronto, but it's very close.
The Space Needle there, no? The building. Space Needle is the name.
Space Needle is in the USA. That's in Seattle, but we have one called the CN Tower. And
that one that turned?
It was very tall until the one in Dubai, the Burj Khalifa.
Burj Khalifa.
Yeah, ours was the tallest from 1976 to 2008, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I think it's third or fourth. I think it's 850 meters.
Wow. What you do?
What do I do?
Yeah.
So I build. I build light meters.
But you have some kind of page or web page to see?
Yeah. My company's called Reveni Labs. If you go on Google, just search REVENI.
REVENI.
That's right. Reveni. And then Labs, LABS.
Reveni. With the leaf.
LABS. Yeah, Labs.
And you have.
You find it?
Yeah. Let's see. Use a manual shop. What look here for shop?
Yeah, so I
Mira que what is that? Polyester. What material is that one seems concrete but is plastic?
sorry, you say that again?
You have a material that looks like concrete or small concrete but is thick, like rubber.
You're cutting out. I'm sorry. I'm only hearing part of what you're saying.
I'm seeing something like small bricks or something of rubber. What material is that?
Oh, the material. Yeah, it's a 3D printed plastic.
Ah, TPU.
Nylon. But
Estoy mirando la
printed.
página de él, Ethan.
Wait. Oh, I see. Yeah, it's.
I'm looking at
Yeah, it's.
page.
He's using, what do you call it? MJF, multi-jet
Yeah.
fusion.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's nylon.
Like,
they have a lot of materials available now, but it's nylon.
You know, laser sintered with powder. This is like that, but they're
Yeah.
using like a bubble jet
Plastic.
type of printer to spray glue instead of sintering. It's very nice. It's expensive, but it makes sense on mass products because they're so small.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
I was looking like 5 days the printer that prints with ink. You saw that has a rotating table.
You're really
And you
cutting
have-
out now.
Oh fuck. There you heard me right?
Yeah.
that's better. Yeah.
I was for a printer that has a rotating table and powder, that colored powder.
Yeah, that's a version of
And
MJF.
wow.
Yeah.
It $99,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt will own one of those.
It was like.
Well, I pay somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
I don't have the machine.
I was looking, but it's incredible, and they have like sheets, the 4 colors, clear and support, and black, and they print textures that look so real. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know how was the.
This one, I know they have some powder-based printers that are more fragile. It's more like powder and glue, but the plastic is not actually like really bonded. It's just sort of glued together.
Well, I mean, that's MJF.
Yeah.
That's what you're using.
Well, no, but this is actual. It's not glue. It's actually a chemical solvent.
I see.
So the plastic is
Welded.
fused. Yeah. It's welded. Yeah.
And some of you have tried the steel filament for 3D printing.
What kind of filament?
It's a filament that is, I guess, from BASF, and it looks like PLA that is inside. So you print the piece as normal PLA. You bring the piece to BASF. There are several laboratories, and they do like heat treatment process to the plastic. In one process, they take the plastic away. In the second process, they refine like the stainless steel.
Yeah.
And in the third process, they get it together or something, and you end up with a stainless steel 316L part.
Yeah, so
I've seen that.
I've seen
But
that.
you can print it with. It works, or just a publicity?
So there's a couple different ways to do that, right? Like, I know Shapeways, you can send them a file and they will print it in plastic and make like a lost PLA casting of it. It's a pretty traditional process, but
I think they have a wax printer for that.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a wax printer.
But
they also make
this is the actual.
Right. So they make PLA with metal embedded in it, and then they just
Exactly.
melt the PLA out and fuse the metal at the same time. But there's all sorts of dimensional accuracy issues with that, right? So
Yeah.
The shrinkage, yeah.
yeah, the shrink
Yeah.
is not going to be uniform, and so it's
No.
like
They have design guides and stuff, but it's still ever
Yeah.
present limitation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
they use it mostly for post process with CNC.
yeah, right.
Yes.
So
Yeah. It's like essentially making a casting. They're making a raw casting through a print, and then they
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
maybe
cutting out
next
casting
week
and forging.
Yeah. Next week I will try with the guys at the aluminum foundry. We will try to test like sería not wax but PLA with thin walls and try to see what happens when we pour the aluminum inside. Maybe we can imitate the wax because we can find wax here. So maybe we can do like the hollow PLA thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. You have tried something like that?
I think that's
I've heard of people doing that.
Yeah, I haven't done too much. I have a friend who has cast some lost PLA out of my like reject parts. I gave him a bunch to test it. But like the thing is, if you're making maybe one single part, cool. If you're making like a system of parts that have to fit together and mesh,
There's going to be post-processing
process. Yeah.
No, you're basically making a forging or a casting that you're then going to have to post-process at least partially. I mean, there's not a lot of products that are just a straight casting going out to the customer. Yeah. But it certainly it lowers the bar to entry, which is nice. That you could reasonably cast some smaller quantities, I suspect. And 3D printing is a great way to make a what do they call it? The they used to make like wooden templates.
A maquette.
For maquette, is that what they're called?
Yeah.
I have it for wood, and now I'm using Korean. The plastic.
Yeah. Yeah,
Korean
it's a nice
is like
way.
acrylic. What?
I've heard that. Yeah, Korean. Name's familiar.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I moved to 3D printed PLA.
Yeah.
And it works fine. So the thing with the PLA is you have to finish it by hand with plaster and
Right.
sanding. That is a pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass.
It's probably
Last
not
time
always the
I
right
was-
choice.
No. But I do the math like it, and how much cost me to send it, how much cost me to sand it myself. And I always finish it with hands. It's something bad that we are thinking, Ethan. I have like two molds for the belly of the bike that I thermoform. It's called thermoforming.
Yeah.
Thermoform IBS. And they were negative molds in aluminum, and I had to polish it like 3 weeks, working in a row to get the fit.
Yeah, that sucks.
And I mal, odioso. I was dreaming that I was sanding, and the tools and everything, it get I don't know what is the name when it doesn't last more than 5 minutes and you have to change it. All the tools for aluminum.
Oh, the sandpaper gets clogged and.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I use like a past of aluminum, like was maybe like an epoxy aluminum past to fill some holes.
Yep.
And it will resist the temperature when I do the molding, but it won't resist the the abrasion of sandblasting or something. So I take it to the sandblaster and said, it has to be very, very smooth, very with low pressure, so you don't ruin my work. And he says, well, be sure, no problem. Come in 2 days. When I come back in 2 days, he wasn't there. There was an employee, and he came out with the molds and said, "You will be happy. We use the newest sand, and full of pressure is pretty clean." No, 2 more weeks.
Totally ruined.
He ruined mal.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Malísimo.
All right, that's the reason to do everything yourself.
Bueno,
But also, at some point,
no,
you cannot.
but you cannot.
Yeah.
You cannot. You can grow that way.
Yes.
Yeah, you are not scalable.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Been eating a lot of meatballs. I've not scaled myself up enough.
Yeah. It's the wrong scale.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, I'm excited to, if I can bring somebody on for the summer to help me out.
With what? What?
Yeah, with assembling, I've got a lot of products to assemble this summer. It would be nice to have a slave, wage slave.
I don't know. I refuse to have people in my shop, but there is no other way. Oh, someone is calling me. I come back.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not so much fun. Do you do any, or have you done any work trying to make your workspace ergonomic, Ethan?
Yeah, a little. I'm kind of, Laura and I have been interested in buying a house. We don't know about Albuquerque long term, or didn't for a long time, but yeah. So when I was about done printing all of the mongoose parts, the background behind me used to be printers. I finally cleared that off. That's a workspace, which now just has junk on it, but will be a workspace again. And I sold 3 printers so that I could get everything back up on the racks. And yeah, a little bit, but mostly I want to build or buy a 5,000 square foot workshop. I think it's I'm at about 1,000 square feet right now, and it's tight.
Yeah.
When I have a wholesale laser cutting job, like they'll pretty much take over the whole workshop for maybe a week, which is good. I'm glad to have the business, but also kind of it gets cramped. I'm sure you're also in a similar situation, although
Yeah,
your
well,
products are smaller.
My products are smaller, so the stock doesn't take quite so much space. What takes the most space is boxes of like bubble mailers.
I have a refrigerator-sized box of bubble wrap for the mongooses. It's I'm gonna reclaim one human workspace as soon as these go out the door. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. Well, I've actually got Uline's. It might be their only Canadian facility. Is like 20 minutes from my house.
Very nice.
Although they charge more money to do a pickup, local pickup, than they do to ship. Usually, they charge $25 for local pickup, which is dumb. And they charge like $30 to get it sent by UPS to my house. So I'm not going to drive 20 minutes for $5.
Yeah.
So, but I can get stuff quickly. I get it next day generally from Uline. Not that they're the cheapest, but at least they
are not.
They have all the stuff, and if I buy a lot of it, then I get free items, which is better than no free items, I guess.
Yeah, always. I've been using a lot of Amazon. I've been always looking for pricing errors on office supplies and packing and shipping stuff.
Yeah, I order from Amazon a lot, but I don't like to do it. I mean, I don't have a choice. No,
Yes.
certainly don't feel like I have a choice.
No. My business runs
I
on
put more money
Amazon.
in Bezos's put
Yeah.
more money in Bezos's pocket.
Yeah, for sure. But then again, like, with the retail apocalypse, especially here in Albuquerque, like, I would say 90% of the precursors, in terms of parts or tools, you just cannot buy here. Right? Like, you want to buy a
Yeah,
solder rework station, like, good luck. There's not
no,
one
you
for
won't find
300
them.
miles at least.
We've got a few stores, but I mean, we've been like in and out of lockdowns and stuff, and so like there was times like I wanted to go. I think I was dropping off packages or something. So I use a forwarder to get packages to the States,
Hmm.
which is a really nice service. Saves a lot of money.
Yeah.
I don't have to go through Canada Post to get
Yep.
stuff down south, um, because I think Canada Post attempts to turn a profit. Their rates are so much higher than UPS rates. It's insane.
Huh.
It's criminal, honestly. It cost me half. Like if I wanted to send a package to my neighbor, it cost me twice what it cost me to send something in the lower 48.
It's crazy. I I got real upset. Like, I'm sure you buy a lot of prototyping parts, at least from AliExpress, right? Um, and
Yeah, depends. Depends what it
so,
is, but
like, I ordered a fountain pen from AliExpress about a year ago. It cost $1.67 with delivery from China. That was the
yep.
whole cost, $1.67, and
Yep.
I liked it, so I bought another one to give to my friend Joe, who lives 4 miles away. And it gets here, spent another $1.67, and it
Yep.
costs almost $4, like $3.85, to ship this thing the 5 miles to Joe. And I couldn't bring myself to do it. I said, Joe, sorry, like, you gotta wait.
Yeah. Well, here it's if I wanted to send a grain of rice. Well, no, it's not fair. If I can put it in an envelope and they won't notice,
Uh huh.
basically, then it's like the domestic stamp is up to 30 grams is $1.27 or something like that Canadian. So like $1 American. But if I want to send a packet, so like a bubble mailer, 4 by 8 inch bubble mailer. If I want to send an empty packet, I'm looking at $9.50, I think, minimum.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
if
it's
it's
about
going to like
387 for me.
if it's going to like rural Alberta, it's like $20. Um, because the prices are not fixed. Like Canada Post actually attempts to balance the books.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
So their pricing actually
That's pretty terrible.
approximates the real cost. I've
Yeah.
never sent anything to like the high north.
Uh
Up in
huh.
the north, like
I send things to the Yukon all the time for
you
$16.
do.
I have a customer up there. Yeah. Uh,
That's funny. I don't think I've ever gotten an order in the territories.
Interesting. I have
But I
one
know,
customer in the Yukon, but he's like a fairly regular customer. I think
yeah.
probably I have an advantage over Canadians because I can send them things for,
Uh,
16 to $25.
through Alaska.
Yeah. Well, I don't know where it goes through, but
I haven't tried, but I should see what it says. I'm sure that there's service limits too, uh, like that it would go to some town or something, and the recipient would have to go pick it up. Like it's not even that they don't even have an address essentially that's mailable. Right?
mm-hmm.
There's no last mile. We don't have any of those donkey teams going down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon like you guys
Yeah,
do.
yeah. I've seen them. I've hiked
That's
around those
funny.
guys.
Yeah, I don't know I can't remember what Canada Post mandate is. I don't even know if they're. I think they're. So we have things here, which I'm not sure if the United States has, which they call crown corporations, which are wholly owned subsidiaries of the government.
I see.
So they are operated like a private company,
Yeah,
uh,
we have
but
those.
they Yeah, I don't know what the U.S. calls those.
Often they're agencies, right? So like my mom worked for the Housing
Okay,
Finance Agency of the state of New York, which was like a fully independent company based on like a state charter.
but like, do they have CEOs?
Um, I think
Because like ours are literally like we have one. We have a large engineering company called SNC Lavalin, and they are a wholly owned government corporation.
mhm,
So it really is like there's literally like it's a private company, but the owner is the government of Canada.
yeah.
But yeah, it's bizarre, and they sell them too. Like they will sell these companies to
Huh.
private industry. Like I previously had my local electricity provider was privatized a few years ago.
Oh, it sucks.
It went from being municipal owned. So it's weird now. We actually in this area the high voltage lines are provincially owned,
Uh-huh.
but the municipal power companies, a lot of them are privatized now.
Hmm.
So the city is private, but the distribution system is provincially run and operated. And there are pricing rules. Like I think part of the privatization is limits are placed upon them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, the electricity company owns a monopoly, not monopoly, obviously, right? Like
Yeah, we have regulated monopolies in power
I don't get
companies
I
usually,
don't get to pick. Yeah, you guys have
unless
like
you're in
PG&E
Texas.
in California.
Yeah.
Fuck Texas, jeez. Texas is
The worst
Texas.
state in
Texas.
the union by far.
What is wrong with them?
Everything.
Yeah, I heard a very good idea that actually said Texas should split itself up into substates in order to get more senators. That
Yeah, that would be the
rather
worst.
than well,
They
that's what
have
they
the
should do if they
worst
were smart.
senators. Yeah.
But yeah, you don't like Ted?
No,
He's a
not a
sweetheart. He's
fan.
Canadian, by the way.
Ted Cruz
Raphael.
is Canadian.
He was born in Calgary.
Huh.
And he lived. His parents were American people on. So I don't know why they were there. But he's American by blood, but not by birthplace. I'm pretty sure Trump tried to use that as a way to. Trump was bringing that up as a birther argument. It's a legitimate birther argument. Trump was saying he's not eligible to be president because he was born in another country.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, which I mean he does not hold Canadian citizenship, although he probably could have got it. Right, because in the United States you can be a citizen simply by being born on this
Yes,
side of the
birthright.
wall, right?
Yep.
Wasn't that what they were saying about that the Mexican women can?
Yeah.
Somebody was talking about jamming their vaginas up against the fence if they can squeeze a baby through that
Jesus.
through the Trump fence. The baby lands on the other side as an American, and something like that, which is a great argument.
Yeah.
But I think Canada has the same right or same something.
Yeah, I think most countries have birthright. Not all.
I
That
think,
makes sense.
yeah, I think a lot of them don't. I think that, like Saudi Arabia and stuff. I think it doesn't.
Uh-huh.
But what was my point? Where the hell was I talking about that? Ted Cruz. I honestly, if I'm curious, what percentage of Texans know that his real name is Raphael?
Yeah. Hey.
Because would they vote for a Raphael Cruz? Probably not. I
Mm.
doubt. I think if there was a public information campaign saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
his real name is Raphael," that he would not win re-election.
It's
He would not have won election had it been outed
possible.
that he may look white, but don't let what's on the surface deceive you, Texans. He's not as white as he claims to
Oh
be.
man, we're now going to the insane far right to try and this. Hey, I just got a
Hey, man.
text from my buddy Eric, who's a great DP, who has a 8 years old daughter who I sent some Arduinos to, and he
Okay.
says, "Hey, you available for a quick FaceTime with Dill. She's building a go-kart and wants to show you because you're the engineer, she says. Let's see if we can get a 8-year-old to show up and show us her latest electronics project.
She's building a go-kart.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's the total current output of all the Arduino I/O pins combined? How many Arduinos did you send her?
You use them. You don't power through the Arduino. You use relays and
10 milliamps times 13 I/O pins times how many Arduinos?
Yeah, I don't think that's the way to do it, Matt. We should have a conversation
I don't know, man.
about power consumption.
If you read enough Instructables and Make Magazine, you'll see that's the way that all things are accomplished.
Hang
on. How many Arduinos does it take to blink an LED, right?
Let me send this link real
joke.
quick. You can power an LED with an Arduino. Let's see.
No, but the question is, how many Arduinos does it take to blink an LED?
One?
It's rhetorical.
Second.
The correct answer is 0. But,
I see. That's true. So, this is like one of my best friends who's her father, and we have like sort of a weekly chat, and sometime during the pandemic she had disassembled like a couple, like a fan and some other piece of electronics around their house and built the Screechinator, which was like some beeping
Screechinator
machine. Yeah, it's just 7, you know.
So it's like it's like a Guantanamo sleep deprivation unit.
Well, yeah. So I was really excited about this. She showed it to me on Google Meets, and then I immediately sent her like a Arduino starter kit and taught her how to write some basic code, and she made the Screechinator 3000,
which generates its own PWM howls. You send her a 115 dB piezo speaker.
Yeah, it was just like a little 5-volt active buzzer. And yeah, he said I was the 21st century version of the man who gives another man's child a drum kit. It's super annoying really quick.
Yeah. That's a recorder. That's the worst. Bringing home the recorder from school to practice.
Yeah.
Did you ever have to learn recorder?
I mean, I was supposed to. I did not.
Okay. We took music reasonably serious when I was in elementary school. It was like the cool thing to do, it seemed. And then I went to high school and realized it was not cool.
Are you good at playing any instruments?
I used to be good at the saxophone when I was in school. And then I do play guitar, although I am sort of perpetually bad at it. Even though I've been playing it for almost 20 years. It's 6 months, in 6-month intervals. But there was actually, the way I like to play guitar now, there was a video game that came out a long time ago called Rocksmith. Have you ever heard of this game?
No.
So somebody basically saw Guitar Hero and said, why don't we just use a real guitar? And so they essentially have a digital to analog converter through USB. And then this game basically just does like FFT on the incoming audio signal, and then correlates it to notes on the screen. And it looks it's basically just the most complex version of Guitar Hero that you've ever seen. And it's actually a ton of fun. Because if you've ever, have you ever played, do you play guitar, or have you ever tried to play guitar?
Yes, I have played the guitar like for a month with a friend of mine who let me play with his guitar, but I've never owned a guitar.
Did you ever like try to sit down and like try to play along while looking at like tab or something like that, musical tab?
Yeah, from a book, but
yeah, like it's lame. It is lame. I mean, it's fine, you can figure out the riffs and stuff. But like this game, like, having it fed to you, coming down this ribbon, Guitar Hero style, is awesome. It makes it more fun to play, in my opinion. I just enjoy playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
And it varies the difficulty and stuff. And
yeah, it seems like
as you get
America's
better, it
Beacon
increases the
teaches guitar type of game.
yeah. It really is like Guitar Hero. It looks like Guitar Hero too. And you see a sort of a translucent fretboard, and then the notes come down, and there's each string has a color, and then like when they want you to do bends and stuff, the little line. So each note is a line. So if it's a short note, it's just a block, and then if it's a note you're supposed to hold, there's a block, and then there's a line behind it for the duration you're supposed to hold it. But then if you're supposed to do if you're supposed to bend the string or something, the line will have a wave to it.
Oh, cool.
So as you're going, you bend, and as you're bending, where it's meeting the fretboard follows the line and shows you whether you're bending enough and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, whoa,
and
that's pretty advanced.
It's really advanced. Yeah, it's obviously got a built-in tuner and stuff. You have to read, and then the different songs and stuff. There's tons of songs. I pirated it. They charge a criminal amount of money for the songs, unfortunately.
Yeah. Thanks, ASCAP.
And they're really anti. Like people have done their own like custom DLCs and stuff, and they're really like anti making that easy to do. And the DLC usually kind of sucks.
Hey, Matt.
In quality.
I am actually late, but I will be back here in an hour. Are you going to be assembling all day?
Yeah, actually, I do need to stop for lunch.
Yeah, yeah, I got to make Laura lunch. But hey, this is fun. If I'm back streaming, I will just go stream. But if I'm not, I'll just send you a private link to my OnlyFans assembly page.
Oh, that's fun. As long as it's a free OnlyFans link.
No, I'm extremely expensive.
Is the first month free?
Sure, yeah. For you. I'll make you a deal, Matt.
Oh my goodness.
All right, I'm gonna go make Laura lunch, but I hope to see you later. And anybody who's watching, thanks for watching.
All right.
See you later. Bye.
See ya.